In part three, we talked about want and need, trying to figure out what you want and what you need. And that's very hard to do, and I admit that. But something we need to talk about that might be even harder to do is honesty. And so some of the things that we do really go against what we're trying to do with a partner or spouse or whatever however you wish to say it. But the honesty part of it is you need to be honest. You need to be honest with them about what you're doing with money. And some of the things that we do is my wife and I we talk about things a lot. Um, we were talking about taking a pretty extended vacation overseas, and we decided against it. Not really for the money, but for part of it for the money of what we were going to spend, how long we were going to be gone, and then we talked about how much work there is to it and things you're going to do and traveling and it's a lot of work. You need to do it when you're young or go on, when you retire, do some things. And we've done a lot of traveling, but you need to think about how much you're going to spend and what you're going to do. And we actually sat down and talked about this trip, and we both decided we just didn't want to do it. Now, this is something that I mentioned last time that when I went ahead and did a deposit for the cruise, it was a $500 deposit, which they've lowered it from 1,000 to 500. And when we decided to cancel cruise, that cost us $300. So maybe we didn't think about that quite as well as we should have. Now, compared to taking the cruise and how much we'd have spent, it was just a drop in the bucket, but still, we had to pay a $300 cancellation fee, and it's just the cost of doing business and part of the game. But last year we were really thinking about it, and this year we talked about it, and we said we just don't want to do that. We don't want to spend that much, be gone that long. So that's something that I talk about between want and need. Now, the honesty part I'm going to talk about is my wife is a wonderful person who talks to me about everything money wise. She'll tell me, she'll tell me if she bought lunch for she and her daughter, or she bought her daughter some groceries, or things like that, or they went out shopping and they found something, and that's fine. We have money that we can do things like that with, but she's always courteous and talks to me about it, and she talks to me about other things she wants to do, and so I really talk to her about the things I want to do. And I have bought some things since we've been married for about 8 years that I went overboard on, and that's another issue that I have is I always overbuy for the one item that I want to get. I buy all the accessories and all the goodies and all that kind of stuff, and then you spend a lot of money on something that is sitting there. And of course, I use Facebook Marketplace to sell stuff on, and of course you're not going to get all your money back, but sometimes you get close, but it's better than it sitting there and growing dust. Pardon me. And so the thing about honesty is that you need to really think about, are you treating are you treating your partner correctly? Are you going behind their back? Are you just buying things and not telling them and hiding them, and keeping them secret? And that's nothing that's ever going to be accomplished and help you out very much at all. You're just going to create a lot of tension and stress. And like I said, finances is one of the first things that will ruin a marriage, before anything else. It's just, the finances are a tough thing to do, especially these days. And I'm really just going to give you some examples of not being honest, that things have happened. So a friend of mine, his wife was a buyer, and buying was her addiction, and not even thinking about anything else, just the buying. And I'll get to the funny story at the end, but he told me that she would buy things like diet pills, and this is a long time ago, the magic diet pills, and they were returnable and refundable, and she wouldn't even take them back, and he had to do that. And then one time, she bought a cell phone and didn't tell him because that she was afraid that he would say no, and so she just did it behind his back, and it was really just a horrible thing. Now, the one thing that worked out one time is that she wanted to have LASIK done when it first got started, and it was a great deal. And he told me that she came up and did a great presentation about glasses, contacts, cleaning, buying, and that LASIK would be a one-time deal and you're done. And so he looked at her and he said, "Well, I totally agree." And she was in shock. She goes, "Really? You really are? You're serious?" She says, "Yeah, I think you made a good presentation about it and the reasons, the pros, the cons." And so she got it done and she was very, very happy with it. And I agree with things like that. Um, and one time that, and like something about finances is that they tried to do their finances every Sunday night, and nobody wants to sit down and do the checkbook at all or look at your spending or whatever. So they tried to do that. Pardon me. And so she finally said, "Well, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to do this anymore, and I'll put everything on a Microsoft, Excel spreadsheet, and then we'll look at it, and you can look at it anytime." And he goes, "Great, that'll be great." He dropped the ball, and then she never did it, so they never knew where their finances were at all. And so, again, honesty is what you need to come up with here. Be honest about what you're willing to do or I don't want to do it. And it's kind of like on the checkbook or finances. Don't kill the messenger. This is just where it is. Keep track of your bank account. Keep track of your credit card purchases. Just like I told you, just use them simply for necessities. And then if you stick with that, you'll have money. Now, one of the things that his wife did that was really something I really just couldn't believe, but she was using a credit card. And so he told her flat out, he goes, "I don't ever want you using this credit card again. Do you understand?" And she said, "Yes." Well, she never did, but she grabbed another credit card and used that credit card behind his back and just didn't tell him. And it was so infuriating for him. He just couldn't believe that that's the way you do it. It's like the story of telling the kid, "I don't want you riding your bike across the street." Okay, fine, a big intersection. So mom sees the little boy walking his bike across the street, and she goes, "I don't want you to walk your bike across the street." And he goes, "Okay." So then she saw him walking across the street, and which he didn't want him to do anyway, but his friend was taking his bike across the street. So she said, "Don't let your friend take your bike across the street." So last but not least, he carried his bike across the street. Mom didn't say you couldn't carry it. So you have to make it clear to everybody of about what's going on. Now, one of the things about being honest is you need to think about it when you buy something. So her fix was buying, like I said, and one of the things she wanted was cookies, mainly Oreo cookies. So she would buy Oreo cookies and she didn't want to eat them. She just wanted them there in case she wanted one. Well, their problem is that everybody couldn't resist it like she could, and so they got into the cookies and ate them, and then that created a lot of problems in more ways than one: health conditions and weight conditions and all those kinds of things. And then she'd get mad that people ate the cookies, and he goes, "How do you expect us to resist cookies that are just sitting there?" She goes, "Well, I bought them." And I go, "Well, it's our money. We're a family. We should eat them." So we tried, they tried to come up with a deal where they would buy one thing a month, cookies or chips, whatever that person wanted. So every 4 months, somebody got something, and they just ate them all that weekend, and it was done. So again, the honesty with yourself, the honesty with your partner, your spouse, whoever you're working with, has a huge advantage to your relationship. And that's what you should do, is just don't go out and spend money because you have it. You need to go out and spend money because you need it. And if you're going to take trips or enjoy or save up for a trip or something, be honest about it. But I've never been more appreciative of anyone than my wife, who talks to me about she bought lunch for her daughter. I just wanted to let you know. And that's just the way she feels. That's her morals and her mentality coming out. And it's simply wonderful. So you need to find out about people, how they're going to act, and be honest about it, and just keep up with it. So as usual, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, and then please pass this on to anybody else who's trying to become a millionaire and working through a marriage, because it's like the title says, marriage is a business, and that's what you're going to have to do. Thank you very much.